Hello everyone, I'm Dragons After Dark, and today we'll be going over my Falcosaur Team Rumble strategies for Splint Jr. and Legion Dalaran. The coordinates and Zufu's link will be in the description. The rematch string, tdScript, and steps can be found at the links. The tips for the Falcosaur Team Rumbles will be to make sure the Falcosaur you're battling with is summoned before you begin your fight. The Falcosaur does not need to be in slot 1, enter the battle, or survive to complete the requirement. Splint Jr. is a single enemy fight, and they are a critter, and we will go over my strategies for each of the fights as they come up. So, let's get started. So first up, we have our Bloodgazer Team Rumble. And we are going to start out with a dot from Rip on the Zandalari Shin Chomper combined with Black Claw, which is going to increase that damage that we're going to see from Rip. And then we will bring in our Bloodgazer, and from them we are going to get that nice 50% increased damage from Shattered Defenses when we use Falcosaur Swarm. And that's pretty much it for my strategy on this one. This one's just dot them up and take them down. So let's get started. For this one, we're going to start out with our Zandalari Shin Chomper, and what we're going to do is we're going to Rip first, because Rip has a longer duration than Black Claw, and then we're going to Black Claw, which makes sure that it will have all of the rounds of Rip overlapping with the rounds of Black Claw, and then we're going to swap to our Bloodgazer hatchling. And now we're going to use Falcosaur Swarm again to get that nice 50% damage taken to cancel out their elite buff. Once you get below 50% health, you're going to use your flying racial, which is fine. We're not really worried about that. And you can either get a pet that's faster than Splint, which is what I prefer. I prefer something that has more than 329 speed, so that we can just go ahead and hit them with any beast attack and it will finish them off. Although it is always nice to crit sometimes like that too. Next up, we have our Direbeak Team Rumble. So this one is going to be like the first one in that we're using a dot from the Trapped Stone Fiend and then Shattered Defenses from the Direbeak Hatchling. However, because we don't have that Black Claw to help modify our damage, we have to bring in our third pet, which is going to be the Curious Wolvar Pup, to get that nice big damage hit with the bonus damage from the bleed with the Wolvar's Maul. I have put a power restriction on the Wolvar for greater than 324, so that means that there are not going to be any alternatives that show up on Zufu's for this pet, because I want to make sure that we take Splint down in as few rounds as possible. However, you can try the other humanoid pets that have Maul. If that's your choice, I just can't guarantee that they are going to take him out in the same number of rounds. So, let's get started. Alright, we've got our humanoid pets in with the Direbeak, so let's get started. We're going to Rip to set up that nice dot. And then, because it'll take a while for the Trapped Stone Fiend to die if we just leave it in, because critter abilities do reduce damage against humanoids, we're going to go ahead and swap over to our Direbeak Hatchling. And we're not even going to bother with the Iron Skin because we want it to die as soon as possible. So we are just going to Falcosaur Swarm until the Direbeak Hatchling is dead. As you can see, now that we've got our Shattered Defenses up, that bleed is ticking for its usual damage at 106 because the Shattered Defenses cancels out the elite buff. Now that we have that, we'll bring our Curious Wolvar Pup in, and we will Maul. Maul is nice because it does big beast damage, but you get additional damage if the target is bleeding. And there you go. That's it for the Direbeak. Okay, now we have our Sharptalon Team Rumble. This one's going to be the Sharptalon plus 2 magic pets. For our magic pets, we're using the Sanctum Cub and then any level 25 magic pet. This one's going to be similar to the first strategy, except the Sanctum Cub is the one with Black Claw, and we're going to apply that once we're faster. And then our Sharptalon's actually the one with our Rip, which will give us the bleed dot, and then we'll have Falcosaur Swarm, and then we've got the any level 25 magic pet that'll come in and clean up as needed. So let's get started. For our Sharptalon team, we are going to start out with the Sanctum Cub, and what we want to do here is we want to leap to get faster than Splint. And we're going to do that twice to give Splint time to build up some damage on us, and then we will Black Claw. And it'd be nice if he killed the Sanctum Cub here, but that's not always possible. Now we'll bring in our Sharptalon, and we're going to dot it up with Rip. And then we will Falcosaur Swarm to get the Shattered Defenses to cancel out the Elite buff. Now most of the time what you're going to see here is that your fight's going to end with your Sharptalon hatchling, but you can bring a third magical in. I prefer something faster, which is why I have the Sapphire Club here. And that's it for that one. Last but not least, we have our Snowfeather Team Rumble. So this one's going to be another combination of abilities. We're going to use the Infected Squirrel with Rapid Strike and Stampede. So they nerfed Shattered Defenses from 100% down to 50%, but what the Rapid Strike does is it brings us back to that 100% damage done. The give there is that it also means Splint Jr. will be doing extra damage, and since it has critter attacks, that means it's going to be doing extra damage against our undead pets. However, we'll be fine, I promise. And then you have the Restored Revenant. So the Restored Revenant's going to come in, and sometimes it can finish the fight with a couple of bites. But if not, what you can do is you are going to put Howl on, and then you'll come in and you'll clean up with the Snowfeather Hatchling and Predatory Strike. So let's get started. For the Snowfeather, we are going to go ahead and open up with Ravage Strike again. This gives us a nice instant 50% extra damage, but it also means that the target is rabid and it will deal 25% extra damage to us, but that's okay because we're undead. One of the nice things about using Stampede with undead pets is that even if you die, you continue to use Stampede, like this. And even though your damage is reduced, that's not what's advantageous about it. So because you have your immortal round here, you will get to leave Splint or any other kind of pet, enemy pet, with 2 rounds of Shattered Defenses instead of 1, which is usually only possible if your pet's faster, but here we get to do it because of our immortal round, which is nice. Now we'll bring in our Restored Revenant. Now, sometimes Bite is going to be enough to finish Splint Jr. off, which it will for us. Sometimes it won't. So your fail-safe for this is going to be using Howl on your undead, or sorry, Roar of the Dead on your undead round. And then you'll come in with your Snowfeather Hatchling and just use Predatory Strike. And at that point, it will finish Splint Jr. off without Splint Jr. ever hitting your Snowfeather hatchling, but lucky for us today, we get to do 2 bites, and Splint is down for the count. And that's it, you've won all 4 of your fights for your Falcosaur Team Rumble, so congratulations! If there's another fight you'd like to see a video of, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Until next time, I wish you all the best of luck, thank you for stopping by, and happy battling!